he's going. So it is tough to know what it means. We'll just know.
Flop 不是 check 吧
So leaving XX because I wasn't paying close enough attention. I'll take the size after the hand. And he has 6-5. How do we say? I don't think that hand gets the bet turn for that size. After betting flop for that size. And we're talking about guys who are aggressive in a certain way, right? So this is a guy who is aggressive in a way that makes me, it punishes my really weak hands because he's putting in too much money. It's exactly the archetype we talked about if you guys think about it. So it's actually really nice to see. I'm not even going to spell out the adjustment. You guys should know the adjustment from the course at this point. But yeah, here I think ace king off, no heart is fine to fold.
对，这个地方 size 是不对的。
Probably a bit close.
首先 BVB 是英 P 和 OOP 在天花板上都应该怎么样？都应该 check 很多的牌面啊，但是他这里打出来了，而且打出来 size 不对，这里我会怀疑他英 P 这里也不太会打啊，从而用更多的 raise 在这里，但 AK 这个牌可能不太适合 raise。
We'll go on a bit more and wrap things up. Here, this hand is actually supposed to 3-bet often heads up, and I saw this guy likes 3-betting 5x, so we're gonna hit him with the extra small 3-bet. Just assuming he's called, no clue how to react. Jack 10-9 rainbow heads up. I think I'm not familiar enough with how it plays heads up, so we're gonna go for the information check. This guy barrels big and thin, so that's good for the information check.
他这里其实说了一个现象，就是你用6 max 专精的 pro， 你不一定熟悉单挑怎么打，就没有人在这个世界上是全能的啊！这个策略数太复杂了，你 MT 打好，开始不会特别好打，你开始打特别好，你另外一方面不会全能的。要谁说自己什么都很厉害，他多半是有问题的，好吧？这也是一个，但是有可能是一个扑克玩家，他在各个方面都比一个普通人的水平要强，但是他要说在各个方面都专精，那基本上是扯淡了。
When he checks back, this is clearly good enough to play for stacks, so I will just attempt to do that. Could also check raise, but given I think he might, we're not going to go too deep down the rabbit hole. I think we don't have enough information. So here I want to 3x, but this guy has 16 blinds, so I will just min-raise. And yeah, we'll check back, see his sizes and stuff. Small and weak, so let's raise and take a note either way.
我操！我要是跟他打，怎么会打出屎来？我操
How much better that is than c betting if we're good with our reads, and we're good often. So here, I think I don't fold to this raise size, and you want to mix 3 bets, and I like going. I don't know. This is random. This is probably not too good, so don't do this. This is me running out of time, pretty much. Not good to min 3-bet 8-5 off. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that gets called too much. Okay, now that we did. See bet. Check this one back. Check this.
这个地方还要打一个3/4吗
bluff once we get here. We get extra tilt value, I think.
What the fuck?
But yeah, I don't like how I play that hand.
哎呀，哎，你们发现没有？这个玩家是自动补20个 BB 的啊，他这个自动补码补的是20个 BB， 这其实我觉得也是有意思的地方啊。
Yeah, 2x cut off. Probably recreational. Not sure yet. Nah, probably. We can always change the tags later. This is interesting. So this is actually a too small 3-bet size, which might be connected to 3x. Maybe if I 2x, he goes 10 big blinds too. So I think I can call ace-10 off. And also against recreationals, due to the sizing tells and some misplays, it's more okay to call a bit wider. But if we had any information about his range, could definitely alter our perception of this spot, because like we said, if his range is tight and linear, etc. So yeah, I'm winning tons of stuff. Like I said, this is not to be taken as optimal play.
当然，这运气也是相当的好。
Although hitting the turn, of course, is to be taken as optimal play. Here we'll check back, see how he stabs, and here, like we said, we don't like peeling marginal stuff against this guy, so the only question is, do we check raise flop or turn? Let's check raise flop, we'll bet this and check back this, right? Because I don't want to check all this and have him 2-barrel 6s or something. That's really bad for me. Here we saw this be weak before, so let's just call with a7.
就拿空气 raise 盘，然后那个什么
showdown, and it was actually strong now, so again,
unclear.
I'm writing this down for the information. Really important information. Here, there's
1/3这里有价值有炸呼啊。
King Queen would check raise turn, so I think I still shove with the money left behind. But of course we will run into some boats, especially Queen Jack might be there, which is not too fun, but yeah, it is what it is. Yes, we will check back. We'll 2.5x.
这个玩家不标 button 3叉吗
Here with ace king is probably, I think it might always check back. There's a small chance you could stab small in here. If I knew that my opponent was never check raising turn, I would stab small. But yeah, I'm not sure enough. I know that at this point.
太精彩了，太精彩了！这个打的。
Don't have the info to open Jack deuce off, so we're going wider, but not that wide. And here, this is kind of interesting. So I would assume that a better hand than ace king would check raise or go bigger. So I'll just raise ace king. Of course, in theory, his sizing should be balanced, but most guys, when they go the 2/3 sizing, are not too balanced. And this might be big blind versus button, I'm not sure, but it really doesn't matter for the purposes of the note, and you can always check. right? It was against button, and then we correct the note. But yeah, I don't even care to correct the note. We're not really playing these guys beyond the video. Okay, so three-handed is good for fast notes. If I'm gonna 3x, I think this might fall out of the raising range. Let me think. Well, I think I might actually rather drop like suited connector stuff and keep the ace-x hands in. I think bigger size, we want more high cards. We see the flop less often, so more removal effects. This is again presumably recreational. So, again, let's see if any of the others are multi-tabling.
有的太标了，有的就没标，也挺神奇。
If you play this limit, you would know all the regulars, so everything becomes really clear. Okay, so here we can check back for information, but we get a donk bet. So we will call ace-jack and just proceed. And again, notes. Horse call, and we'll write down the board. Okay, so really great read, because if he, beyond the fact that he should clearly not have bet river, we see that the 33% size is not necessarily weak, right? And also we see that donk bets top pair, and donk bets top pair is a huge read against recreationals, because someone who donk bets top pair doesn't have top pair in the checking range, and that gives you license to see bet and barrel quite aggressively against these kind of players in lots of spots which you might not ordinarily.
他这里讲了一个很重要的观点，就是一个玩家要是在 flop 放个顶对，那么他 check 范围就没有顶对了，这意味着你可以在这里面 flop 对他攻击更多啊，这是一个很好的地方。就他会正反两面的去思考这个范围啊，绝大多数咱们的同学其实可能并不一定有这个能力，这是一种非常珍贵的能力。就是我可能有时候会这么想，但不是所有时候都会这么想啊，这个其实是挺难的啊，挺难的。
Queen Jack suited should almost certainly not have been calling there, but I'm not 100%. I'm not an expert with these stack sizes. But if you were, you could.
20 BB 他也不是专家，对这个地方有的时候短码你到底要 call 什么不是特别清楚。
Take a note that he stacks off too light after opening at 20 deep, right? And that would influence how you shove over his raises. You don't want to shove fives if he's stacking off too much, but maybe it's just okay. I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure how this works at this rake structure. But yeah, just to be PIP more, we'll call. I think that this is probably marginal either way. It's either a mixed call or a pure fold, and you call a bit the higher pair. Yeah, so here's a board he should never bet. Right, we'll start with that. Does he know that or not? I don't know, but if he bets, I'll know. So he checks. Threes, I can go any which way. To get information, I would go check back, which is what we're trying to do in this video. And here against a 10 big blind stack with another 10 big blind stack, this is just a fold. So he now goes 66%. Threes will, of course, generally call the turn. And we take the note. it's a bit surprising to see him 66 the river. It kind of makes me want to bluff raise. I don't think a bluff raise would be super believable, so I will actually fold. I'm not very excited about bluff catching. This is like a gut feeling, because it's like a scary card to bluff, I feel. And it connects with lots of his bluffs, so yeah, I'll just fold. And we have the note.
他为什么会想去 river 去 bluff raise 的？这个地方我也挺想不通的。他没有解释啊，这里不 call 是肯定不 call 了。就他有的时候会田忌赛马，用自己差的牌把对手打掉，就这个能力是可怕的啊。
We can do something different next time. Here, this hand can be PIP, of course, versus 4x can do it in several ways. Can call 3-bet. Here we'll call and see what happens. And then, of course, 4x button is a note. And 50% is 5 suited is a note. Now, this is a reasonable spot to assume, like, he's a recreational, it's a wet board, he's only half potting, so let's just check raise bluff, because presumably with some overpair he'd be more worried about protection and go bigger. I don't know if that's true. It's a bit of a stretch, but I think it's reasonable. And then, of course, once he does this, obviously we were wrong, so we fold, right? It's fine to be wrong. The check raise is like, okay, in theory. Well, tables seem good here. 7 into 9.5, so fairly big size. This should be polarized to a 7 or a bluff. Bluffs are likely spades. The fact that it's 7 and it's a 7 is actually often a bit of a tell, but yeah, I think we still call ace-jack. And then there's no reason to bet river.
对，合牌这里肯定不打了
Like not much reason to bet river.
A 勾你很难得到什么比你大的牌 call 啊，比你小的牌来 call。
If he never has you beat, then why not? But we're chopping with ace-x, so this is just to get some sick hero call from the guy. So let's not do it.
精准读牌。
Okay. Here I feel like I need to call. I'm not very excited about it. But I think the last guy is very unlikely to have a calling hand, and this guy's a bit too short for me to want to fold ace-4.
What?
So yeah, I want to note this hand though. So this hand, stab, flush draw, turn 3-way, a7-7, rainbow 2 suited, 4, 14 into 19. Okay, that's it. That's all the information we need, and we will add that to our pool of information for future spots. This guy's probably dead, and of course we will take our favorite note, because how else do you end up playing the hand that way? The dollars, I guess.
我很有可能，我觉得可能后面我每天要找上一点时间去打一点这种桌子，然后就锻炼自己写笔记的能力。
So we should be checking a lot here. And of course there is extra incentive to check when we want information. And here we just have the 60% stab. Here he's stabbing smaller. Queen 6-5 suited, stab 8 into 15 after a cold call. Of course he cold called. I hope I 3x'd and I didn't do something else by accident. But and 11 into 31. This is a funny size. So either he has the nuts and he's inducing, or this is something weird. Now, if we were to assume that he's not doing anything,
他这个假设是怎么做出来的？就觉得佩尔打的这么小是一个 nuts， 这里不也容易被反超吗 ？nuts 都会打小注吗？ nuts 不应该在这里面把更多的价值拿到吗？ 就我是觉得这个假设是有点想不通啊。
Just check raise and go broke with this. So let's start out doing that. Won't give people too much credit. So yeah.
我们也会，你看它这里面它 snap fold 或者 snap check 这种东西，它都会被认为是信息。就比如说我们今天讲 BAB 的那个地方 ，snap check 这个地方其实就都是信息。那这里面我们要想一想，就不要好多时候决策做得太快，对吧？会被这种顶尖高手盯上的。当然，200以下这么敏锐的玩家肯定是少的，对吧？因为你足够敏锐，你肯定打上去了。但是你要潜在注意到，这里可能是这是一个问题啊，这是一个问题。
Again, just a note that's gonna add up, of course. What was the guy thinking? I don't know. Maybe that he wouldn't get bluff raised, but he's gonna get bluff raised against me. Like, but yeah, he doesn't know me. Who knows what he's thinking? What the hand is? So here we have 5 into 11. Oh, it's half pot. This is 550 actually. It's weird that the software doesn't show. But yeah, we call. And we'll keep going. Could bet the river.
对，他在这里面其实是可以考虑过牌，可以考虑要一点博价值的。但是我觉得他会过牌，然后要这个 in P 的信息，就看他牌。
Betting the river is actually nicer than checking the river here. So let's go for like 750 because he could still have us beat and he might bet bigger. And I don't think he's very likely to raise as a bluff.
刚说人家不太可能raise，然后这就打脸了。不过到这种 back check back river 的 raise， 我倒挺好奇他会不会 call 去看信息的，以及这种酒会怎么处理
？Yeah, I would be surprised to see a bluff. You never know, but I think I'm fine.
对啊，这里正常打的话，就是肯定是 fold 给热量。你们会看到我在其实这面临好多 raise， 我 river 其实都 fold 了。就我们看了那么多玩家吃，我们知道 river 对手其实是一个 raise 不够的地方。
So again, I write this down because he raised the river bet. Maybe he will raise another small bet later, and next time I'd be less likely to believe him just due to the note. Of course, if that induced a raise, that was terrible by me. But I think generally recreationals do not bluff raise as much as they should. And I think we're far enough along. Let's sit out next blinds. Here this could ISO or limp behind, slimp behind. This can...
我一般对这种 limp behind 的人也会直接标语，但为什么这种顶级高手会 limp behind 的呢？为什么呢？
Squeeze or call, they're both okay. We know this guy donk bets, which is a nice read, so extra reason to actually play with him. Because here I know if he checks, he's very likely on air. Of course, that, or not top air, that doesn't help me in this specific spot, but like if you were thinking, let's donk bet for value, he's a lot less likely to put in multiple streets of value.
他这里没有顶对了。
Extra reason to check, and we probably see him fold, maybe we see him call. Either way is okay. We have reads on this guy. 33, and then fires over bets too much on the turn, so almost makes me want to just call the ace-10, but I probably still raise. But this read might make me more likely to call, for sure. And I'd expect. I mean, maybe Ice Beam's a bit stationy, maybe he shows up with King 7 and calls down. And maybe he randomly has something else, maybe he has 8-9. I don't know. Everything's possible. Here again, because I'm 3xing, I have to fold. I have to fold this. And here we will just go and bet $20 to not give him pot odds to call anything and kind of string him along, and we'll see how things develop. Does he have a 10? Ooh, so we were right about him.
这里为什么会有圈呢？他为什么会觉得他就是对？他这里 flop 确实没有顶对，这个没有问题。为什么会有圈勾 back call 呢？What the fuck？ 不过这个地方就是你这个地方其实体现出我和他的差距了。就他看到勾圈了以后，他的那个无误表达的是一种他的假设被验证了的喜悦，他并没有困惑，并没有生气。但我看到这个勾圈的时候，我代入自己是 A10，我会有点愤怒，就像被狗咬了一样，对吧？其实这时候情绪上面的变化是很重要的。你有一个正向激励性的情绪，会保持你游戏的更加稳定。如果你这里情绪很负面，那你可能会容易偏移，容易上头。这个地方是我和他的差距，就确确实实因为这里是好的啊。当然我还是很困惑啊，这个玩家下局不打。然后你会听到，就是因为这里面的声音依旧是平稳的、稳定的啊，这很厉害，很厉害。当然也可能因为这些钱对他来说不重要。
Adventurous. So we could say don't bluff him. Feels like one and done, at least. Like this is not a big call down. This is more like he wanted to see if he's hitting his hand, I guess. So this is not like a don't bluff me line, because obviously he keeps going with it after the flop. But flop was super adventurous, so we don't want to one and done versus a guy, for sure. Okay, good for access. Very surprised to see that hand. So again, here we'll check. This guy is maybe recreational. I don't think I have notes on him. When it goes check, check, you could make a bunch of assumptions, and there are a bunch of different ways to play sevens, but if we are going for max information, we check. Of course, we could also sometimes bet this small. And here, let's act like, I think, like you could have a thought process of you think he would bet his good hands on the flop already, so he can't have hands good enough to bet this big, and you just call down. I think that's a reasonable thought process. And we would see it.
他在这里面思考方式，如果他有强牌 flop 就打了，没错，95这个牌面，硬 P 有强牌在 flop 就打了，但turn上没有理由打一个特别重的猪，不合理，所以跟猪了。他觉得这是有道理的思考。
Showdown if this is true or not, and then you would say, he's potting the river on a scare card, so if it's an accomplisher mode thing, you just expect to see like 6-8 suited or
6-8 是什么？68。
Let's play against this guy. So we'll call and see and take a note. One of the last hands of the video.
Whoa.
C9s, which is perfectly fine. Again, no reason to ever feel bad. So we go check, check, set, stab 11 into 15 and pop. And yeah, just a ton of information that should be super useful playing against the guy in the future. And again, I'm not saying like I like the call I made. Like my
这个 river 如果我自己打，我肯定不会 call 的。turn 上搞不好我都不 call。但 turn 上他的那个思维方式可能是有道理的啊。
That was definitely screaming to fold, but we want to collect information in this video more than we want to show you guys how I necessarily play. So here, I don't expect him to have a pair. I do expect him to be adventurous, so let's actually value bet the ace-deuce. Expecting very wide calls, and then check back the turn to bluff catch river. Presumably, it seems reasonable, and here just check down. Yeah, so you guys can see how he played exactly how we expected, but he didn't bluff the river. So
就他 flop 会 call 得很宽，所以他在这儿是 adventurous。
Doesn't bluff later. Really important, because now in the future, maybe I bet ace-deuce twice. Like, why check it back to... And definitely I don't bluff catch the river. So this is a very kind of passive opponent. You really want to play him like a